Welcome to another retrospective of video games. Today we're going to talk about the video game Clive Barker's Undying by EA Games. This is literally one of my favorite games. It came out in 2001 under critical acclaim from critics. It received favorable reviews from critics and gained a cult following, as they say over here on the website. This game was actually a commercial failure, because I remember very good in the time that this video came out, the video was not received favorable, and it sold very poorly, and it landed months after it was already for 10 euros in the bargain bin. And it disappeared very quickly from the market, even physical copies. It was very short period of time. They have only, the first printed copies that they have sold in shops, and I have a couple of years afterwards I've never seen besides second-hand copies being sold anymore. So it was really quickly gone. So it says over here, Undying follows the adventures of 1920s Irish paranormal and adventurer Patrick Galloway as he investigates the mysterious cult happenings at an estate of his friend Jeremiah Covenant. It received favorable reviews from critics and gained a cult following. And this is correct over here. It received favorable reviews from critics and gained a cult following because this wiki page article was made much later, or it was actualized, because the game is now still for sale on GOG, and I myself have the physical copy. It's really one of my favorite games. And the recent reviews, actually the reviews of the last 7 to 8 years, are just in favor and just are praising this game. And yes, it has a cult following. I know myself. Now, cult following also is pretty easy also with a subject that goes about the occult, and people who are into the occult, they are many times also very, how do you call it, maybe radical in it or something, or they are themselves they see it as a religion, and that's why cult following, especially for people who are into the occult, is quite easy. Let me say it like that. But yes, it was very favored. Talk a little about the game. It was made by EA. It's a very high production. It's a very high production for the time. Of course, you look today that this and the graphics are a little bit dated, but in that time it was absolutely groundbreaking. It runs on a modified version of the Unreal 1 engine, both graphically and in terms of sound, audio, EAX effects, sound effects, and OST, so original soundtrack, is absolutely brilliant. It's a beautiful, how do you call that, orchestral pieces. It's brilliant. You just have to listen to it. It's absolutely brilliant soundtrack. So in terms of audio and image quality, it's a groundbreaking breaking game. It runs on 64 megabytes of memory graphics card, I think, or even 32, but runs okay is on 64. I remember very well. And if you had 128, you were just all the time running this game on 1024 by 768. You were just running it with 80 or 90 frames per second. So it was it run really good in that time. It uses very special light effects. Sound effects are, by the way, absolutely extraordinary. It's both FX and the soundtrack itself. But also in terms of lighting, this game was very ahead of its time. And even if you look to the first Unreal 1 and Unreal Gold engine, then the modified Unreal 1 engine that they created for Clive Barker's Undying is really impressive. And so the way they use light in here is really impressive, and shadows, reflections in mirrors, and shadows that are casted behind you, and very realistic light when you approach light sources. I will show that in the video game when we stand in front of mirrors, how that exactly works. All of this is running on 450 megabytes, so it's not even a full CD full of 700 megabytes. It's only 450 megabytes for, well, I don't know how long the campaign is, but I've spent it a long time because this game is full of puzzles, and I spent it many hours beating this game. So there you go. You know, I'm not also the best in puzzles, by the way, but this game is full of puzzles and enigmas. The game has parallel timelines in it, so parallel dimensions. So you have things in this game where you are. By the way, also for your information, this game runs today on a potato. So any game, just onboard graphics will run this game really nice, and you can buy it for €5.50 on GOG, good old game. So if anybody wants to know, but this game is in terms of story there. You are here sort of discovering and puzzling and unraveling what's happening in the mansion and with the family of Jeremiah. And you are Patrick Galloway. Jeremiah Covenant is the owner of the mansion that have called Patrick Galloway, who is a friend of him and have saved his life one time to come and investigate and cast out the strange happenings in his mansion. This game has many enigmas in it, so puzzles. It has many parallel timelines and parallel dimensions in it. And what I mean with that, you find in this game, you go to a parallel dimension, and in the parallel dimension you can, for example, you're being casted all of a sudden in a world where you have ruins, and in those ruins with your psi eye, that is your eye that you can see the paranormal or you can see past time. If you then walk in a ruin and you use the psi eye, you temporarily can see the paranormal and into other dimensions and time frames. And then you see the monks still walking around. And if you then find there also a body of water in those ruins and you jump in there, then, for example, you can go back to when the ruins were still a real monastery and the monks are still living there. So it has some really interesting mechanics in it and puzzles in it, this game. It's really interesting. Even I've seen years later several games that pick little things from Clive Barker's Undying, because this game is absolutely a brilliant production, a very expensive production. A little bit talk about Clive Barker. Clive Barker, of course, is the guy who wrote who made the movie Hellraiser that everybody knows. Have made several other movies, some a success, some not a success. With him, it's a little bit of a hit and a miss. One movie he makes is a success, and the next two or three he makes a complete flop. So that's a little bit of Clive Barker, but he's in the same category as a film producer and director as how do you call him? Stephen King. Only Stephen King, in terms of story writing, and in terms of success with his movies and productions, ultrapasses him. Stephen King is better than Clive Barker, but that's of course also in the eye of the beholder, and they have a very different kind of way of approaching the paranormal and approaching horror. So I think that Stephen King is much more mainstream, and that's why he's so successful. Clive Barker goes a little bit in the direction of Geiger, with a little bit of a a heavier horror element in it. It goes a little bit darker and not so much to just the paranormal and ghost phenomena and psychic things like Stephen King does a lot. So very different in that sense. I'm gonna go just quickly to the user's manual. Then you can see what we have in our inventory. We have health pack, dynamite, arcane swirls. They have mana well, ether traps, bullet ammunition, and silver bullets. And then we're going to go to the next one. Sorry, I have it here in the screen, but I have the original manual also, but it's easier to do it. We have then shotgun shells, phosphorus shells, and then weapons. We have a revolver, we have the Gelzebar stone, we have Molotovs, we have the Phoenix weapon, we have spear gun, we have shotgun, we have the Tibetan war cannon, and we have Sight of the Celt, we have as a weapon. And then we have still spells. We have Schreier, which is then the eye that you can see paranormal things and other dimensions. Then you have ectoplasm. Then you have skull storm, which is just you can then throw 1 or 2 or 3 skulls at the same time to an enemy. These skulls talk to you and even turn around. If you don't throw them quick enough, they even blow up in your hands. So and before they blow up, they start like cursing you and telling you to quickly throw the skulls. It's a really interesting weapon, this, by the way. Then you have lightning. Then you have invoke. Invoke is really interesting because invoke you have to use. Invoke you can reanimate creatures, so you can reanimate enemies and make them fight for you. And you can also use it against enemies that are already dead. So if you use invoke, that normally reanimates creatures. On skeletons who are already dead, you can still kill them. And the skeletons are not affected by any other weapon or spell, only invoke. Then you have the dispel magic. I'm not going to explain it completely, but it's one that you need also. But it's a sort of a counter magic spell, this. And then you have the shield. Then you have haste still, which is just temporarily increases his movement and attack speed. And then you have flight, to limit ability to fly. The rest here are just controls. We're going to just go to the game and show you some advanced things of this game. I hope I have my audio a little bit good and balanced in terms of the sounds of the video game and my voice. Okay, just to go quickly through it, this game was very advanced for the time, and I'll show you why that is. You could go up to 1600 by 1200 resolution. That in that time I think Unreal went only as high as 1024 by 768. So very high resolution. You can change the color. You can change the driver. You can change from 62-bit to 32-bit color. You can change the brightness over here. You have advanced over here. You can do skin detail, world detail, desired FPS, 60 plus, the magic number here. Then quality, shadows and decals. Then in audio we have voiceover, ambient and sound effects. This supports complete ambiental EAX by Sound Blaster, the environmental audio processing. So you can enable it and disable it over here if your sound card support EAX. And then we have a load save menu. This doesn't auto-save, you have to save yourself. So if you don't save, then you die, then it's done. But it has just a save menu. Then we have controls. That you have your normal controls over here. You can go down here with the arrows, and then you have advanced controls. Always mouse look, auto slope, auto switch weapon, look spring, mouse decel, and mouse smoothing. Then the website over here doesn't work anymore, the link to it. The credits for the game, of course. Then you have new game. We're going to go to a medium difficulty. And the cutscenes can be a little bit out of resolution. I don't see that on my game, but the cutscenes in this game are the different resolution that I'm running the game on. So I'm recording with OBS, and then the resolution is going to be probably off because OBS cannot adjust the frame scaling. So let's go. Here's Clive Barker's Undying.
I'm tired of traveling, or fighting superstition in its many manifestations. Even though it was me who chose to debunk folklore and mysticism. Little did I know I'd end up being labelled as Patrick Galloway, the man with endless occult knowledge. Before I knew it, people all over the world paid me to investigate all kinds of weird things. As long as they paid me, I'd look into it. Funny thing though, the more I saw, the more I believe there are forces beyond our control. Creatures not explainable in any human terms. Things that make me skin crawl. I fled from Ireland and hung around Paris and London with no real purpose till the Great War started. I joined a special unit whose job it was to squelch the fears of the superstitious farm boys who made up the fighting ranks. The Trasanti were the biggest pains. Me commanding officer, Jeremiah Covenant, led our unit on the hunt for their camp. We were ambushed. They came streaming out of the woods, waving swords and howling like banshees. I saw their leader holding a strange stone over his head, yelling weird words in a strange tongue. And just when he was gonna pull the trigger, he glared right at me. A bright green flash came from his hand, and it bowled me over as my gun went off. I woke up in a hospital bed with severe burns. They told me Jeremiah and the unit had gone on without me, but he'd given me the shaman stone to keep. I hadn't given any of this much thought until I came back here to find this letter that Jeremiah wrote me almost 6 months ago, asking me to come back to Ireland and help him out. This is not something I'm dying to do, for it may mean the death of me. He saved my life though, so I owe it to him. Just hope it's not too late.
So here we are in the game. This is your stone that you have. I'll go here through the settings. The stone is to push enemies away from you. We have a stone and a revolver. You can also just change the mouse wheel for that. And then we have over here, we have the spells. And now we have only the psi eye, so the eye to see in the past. There's now a rat attacking me. Okay, we're going to use the psi eye, and then you can see things that are from the past or parallel dimensions. So there you go, let's go inside. I like always to watch here the lightning strikes. Sometimes there's a lightning strike that comes really here on top from here and then hits it here. There you go, there was one. Okay, we'll go inside and check the rest.
I'm Patrick Galloway, a friend of Jeremiah's. Sorry it took me so long to get here. His letter said it was most urgent.
Jeremiah is beginning to think that the letter never arrived in your hands. He's been quite anxious to see you. We've all been quite worried. Jeremiah's now bedridden. Follow me and I'll show you to his living quarters. I apologize for the look of the house, but there's only a skeleton crew of servants now. Jeremiah let go of everyone else, and the house is much too large for us to clean. Because we've lost electricity to most parts of the house, we can only maintain the living quarters.
Pay attention to the shadows on the ground when people walk around. The way the lightning works here is very, 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 very well done. And I can show you that when we are in the game here, when you're in front of a mirror. This first scene is to show that Clive Barker puts really here his signature on it by this scene over here. Now. This is really typical Clive Barker stuff. That's just to his signature on his artwork.
Patrick, you made it.
At your service, Jeremiah. Sorry for the delay, but I've been abroad. What happened to you?
It seems I've come under the watchful eye of the Reaper, my friend. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Apparently too long.
Patrick, I came back from the war only to find my entire estate in disarray. My brother Aaron disappeared first, and then my sister Bethany. My declining health is a result of an old war wound, and unfortunately, the symptoms are irreversible. I didn't summon you here to watch me die. I need your help.
Anything I can do. Just name it.
Strange events began happening around the manor. After thinning out my staff, they ransacked my estate, taking whatever they could carry. The rest of the help was quick to follow, as they feared rumors of my family's curse. I can't help but think it's more than a coincidence that strange happenings have increased since I've been back from the war. I want to get to the bottom of this, but I'm just too weak to investigate it myself. I'm relying on you to step in for me.
Of course, Jeremiah. The only reason I risk coming back here is to assist you however I can.
My thanks to you, Patrick.
What the hell was that?
Sounds like it came from downstairs.
I'll check it out. Lock the door behind me.
The only spell we have now is the Psi Eye. That can also help you in dark places. And you can see if you can see something that you normally cannot see. Another room we have to still go first to. So now
Can you describe what you can only see? As the bonds of flesh are broken, the world becomes apparent.
all of this on 450 megabytes, and then the latest Call of Duty I think is more than 240 gigabytes. So talk about bloated. She's the big boss. If you need extra help, you have to go into your package. Oh, there's another one. You have to go to your inventory. Let me see where that was. Yeah, here it is. You have to yourself with enter add health. The health doesn't automatically add here. So if you're in trouble and low health, then you have to do it yourself. sound effects, the graphics still hold up. I mean, of course, it's a game from 2001, but it still holds up actually. Considering that this runs on a potato and it uses 450 megabytes of memory, is kind of impressive. It's actually really impressive. This was, together with Unreal, the first game that really put me in another world. Unreal in a different way because it is a arena shooter, but this, in a movie way, put me really into another world, or into a way like a good book would do.
Those beasts were after me.
What in God's name were those things?
They're called howlers. And while I've never seen one before tonight, I've heard of them for years.
Those weren't natural, my friend. We're fighting more than superstitions here.
Perhaps I was being naive not to tell you, but there might be something more sinister at work here. When I was a boy, I encountered something I can't quite explain. You see, there was this isle of standing stones that sits just off the estate. Someone had carved a sigil into each of the stones, something indiscernible. Father had many books on the occult, one of which contained a sketch of that very symbol. I took my brothers and sisters out to the island and read from my father's book.
Well, what happened?
Something answered. The ocean began to boil, and a great wind whipped against us as we stood in the circle, and my siblings huddled to the ground in fear. Eventually, the wind died, and the sea settled. Patrick, I know it sounds like the ravings of a dying man, but I believe those standing stones had something to do with this. What has once been a taint upon this family has now begun to manifest itself.
But you told me you're dying. Doesn't this curse end with you?
Who knows? My brothers and sisters are dead, but I don't think they're really gone. I've heard some servants whispering. They think they've seen Lisbeth on the estate. My family has come for me. I sense them, Patrick. By now, you and I know the supernatural exists. You saw the Howlers. And what about our encounters with the Tersante during the war? You still even carry the Gelzebah stone with you.
It's a token of the shaman's life I took. That's all.
I found a scroll with a picture of the Gelzebah on it. I believe it contains the way to awaken the stone's dormant power.
Very well. Let me study this scroll overnight, and I'll see what I can do in the morning.
This house still hides many secrets. I'm counting on you to reveal them and put an end to this mess.
Okay, now we're going to receive the next spell, that is ectoplasm. So we are now equipped with ectoplasm, which is a weapon, which can be used for weapon, but also for other kinds of things in the game. You're even capable of this in some places. Use it on the wall and walk through a wall. We're going to amplify this, of course, with Amplifier Stone. We have only one over here now on the bottom right corner. You see the ectoplasm symbol. We're going to amplify it with the stone, the stone that we just found, the Amplifier Stone. Okay, and then also your health, you have to do yourself. If you need health or you need bullets, you have to yourself add that.
Have you noticed anything strange going on?
Apparently, Elizabeth's room was broken into last night during the commotion.
Where's her room?
Just down the hall from here. It's quite a mess.
Tell me what you know about Lisbeth.
Why, she was a fetching young lass. Quite the fiery temper, though. She could be placid and calm 1 minute, and then suddenly she's spitting curses and swinging her nails at you like an animal. 'Tis a pity her mother died birthing her.
Indeed.
Following her mother's death, I'd raised Lisbeth like my own. In the end, the wasting sickness got her. I'd cared for her when she was sick and watched her wither away to nothing. Pity a young woman has to die in the spring of her life. Now she rests with her poor mother at the family mausoleum. The groundskeeper claims to have seen her recently. Oh man, seeing a ghost is never a good omen.
Where can I find this groundskeeper?
He's out in the gardens. You can get there through the kitchen.
Your knowledge is appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to get the diary over here. And now we're going to change spell. The sci-eye that we're going to be needing over here.
This house needs a fix.
Okay, first we're going to go now to the toilet. I'll show you the effects in this game. And this is already quite incredible for that time. These reflections like this. And then the craziest reflections is over here with the light. How the light behaves in this game. So quite cool is this, the light over here. So now we're going to check. This game is full of enigmas. Your psi-eye tells you all sorts of things. So here we have, for example, something where then you can see the other dimension and you can see the parallel worlds with the sci-fi eye. So you have to find paintings and the psi-eye is going to help you in finding all sorts of paintings in the house with messages in it. And going to help you in some other things of the mechanics of this game. This game has very advanced mechanics in it. In the end, if you have all your spells and you have all your weapons, then some really interesting mechanics that they use in this game. So there you go. It's a combination of weapons and spells. And then puzzles, enigmas. You have to go over here now. I have to equip my spell now again. So I have ectoplasm as a secondary weapon. So now we can also put ectoplasma to kill. You're not looking so well, my friend. So there you go. This was part 1 of Clive Barker's Undying. In part 2 we're gonna start getting the rest of the weapons and the spells and start showing you the game mechanics and how this game exactly works. This game is totally worth it. If you like a good story, you like a good puzzle, then this game is absolutely awesome. Check it out. Well, for €5.50 you can buy it on GOG. And it runs on a potato, on any kind of integrated graphics. So see what I mean with reflections? This is really all really well done. This was a very high production for that time. See, I wasn't paying attention. I hope you enjoyed that. Give some more life here. Now we're on 40. Now I'm gonna go my life up again now. And manga also, your ectoplasm isn't unlimited also. The more amplifier stones you have, the quicker your mana will recover. But it's all not endless. So your bullets really run out and your spells run out also. So I hope you enjoyed it. Check out part 2 of Clive Barker's Undying. And until the next time, stay safe, take care. I'll catch you in the next one.